You are now tuning into a drop of melancholy. If you are in a good mood and wish to remain so, do not watch this video.
Now, I see a lot of people getting arrested for this, but we still have yet to see the main culprit who started this be arrested. So now if you took any part in this incident at any given time, even if you were defending yourself in that moment, you are going to be charged. Even if you are defending yourself in that moment, you are going to be charged. So when are they going to make the charge of the man putting his hands on someone? When are they going to make that charge? When are we going to see that? When are we going to see his mug shot up there? Because they said they were going to hold everybody accountable who decided to hit someone with force trying to harm them. So when they're trying to send out a message, because that's what they are trying to do in this moment, send out a message. What message are they really sending out? That it's okay for you to put your hands on somebody as long as you're the one that lose the fight. So you can go around slapping and hitting people, and that is okay. Because you are the one that lost the fight in the end. Because that's the message that I'm getting. I don't know about nobody else, but the message that I am receiving from these arrests and what is transpiring with these arrests is you are allowed to start a physical altercation and then play the victim if you lose that physical altercation.
A permissive attitude in some cases toward crime. And those people who did that, they didn't think there were going to be any consequences. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it. But
absolutely.
We're going to stay on this story. We appreciate your coming on exclusively on the Ingram Angle.
All right. I know that was extremely hard to listen to. That biased interview from Fox News, of course, which never mentioned the way this incident started, which has been told all over everywhere that the Russian was into it, calling people racial slurs, and then slapped the black man. Now, I took a few notes, and you guys let me know what you noticed about that biased interview in the comments. First, they talk about the young black girl who was arrested for, the sixth suspect, and she's hiding a smile, and that once again speaks to the criminalization of black people all throughout this interview. And, it starts with Holly saying, well, yeah, my pain level is at sometimes a 9, and we're speaking to her from a undisclosed location, like her safety is still in danger, and then they say, well, how did you feel when you finally got away from your attackers? Like they were just chasing her down the street with no remorse. No, she jumped into the fight, and you can see that in the video. Someone pointed that out to me. She jumped into the fight, hit the black girl, and when the guy saw her hit the black girl, once again, you were in a street fight, so she got knocked out. And she starts talking about the justice system and people running rampant. And, these people should not have been out on the streets. Once again, it's that criminalization of black people. We were being surrounded when we got out of there. We were just walking, and, we were just, when we got out of the restaurant, we just got surrounded. Like, never mentioning, once again, the Russian, but she did say that there were no words. Lying. There were no words when people have clearly shown it this Russian guy talking smack to somebody, calling them slurs. And then she said, well, no, though there were some racial words talking about we're going to get the Russians and get out of here, you white bleep, bleep, bleep. You know, so black people are just walking downtown Cincinnati after the Jazz Fest about to beat up white people for no reason at all. And then, you know, she uses those words where they started circling like a pack of wolves. They have rap sheets a mile long. Some of them suddenly be running the streets. And then they tried to paint her as this hero, saying, okay, well, how did you? Well, I saw the man getting beating and I jumped in front of him and he was saying, oh, please, God, help me, help me. Now they want to bring God into it when they were drunk out there starting the trouble.
Around 3 p.m. or so. Meanwhile, controversy within City Hall. Cincinnati City Council members now calling out their colleague after controversial comments made on social media by President Pro Tem Victoria Parks. And WLWT News 5's Danielle Dindak live at City Hall right now with the strong words from the Cincinnati Democrat. Danielle.
Mike, from the jump, we tried to work to verify this comment. Not only did Parks say that she is the one responsible, but she doubled down and backed it.
This woman should be run out of office.
U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno dishing out harsh criticism for Cincinnati Council President Pro Tem Victoria Parks in her now viral Facebook comment. It reads, quote, "They begged for that beatdown. I am grateful for the whole story."
She shouldn't spend one more second on city council. And I'm not playing around here.
The controversial two sentences started circulating early Wednesday. I reached out to Parks' office and was told she was on vacation. She later confirmed to WLWT that she stands by the post.
I'm Cherie Palella.
And I'm Mike Dardis. Last night we told you about a Cincinnati councilwoman who said those who were beaten up begged for it, and now a trustee in Ross Township is under pressure to resign after posting a racial slur about that fight. WLWT News 5's Rachel Hersheimer was at tonight's tense emergency meeting in Ross Township.
Tonight's emergency public meeting got very heated. Trustee David Young apologized for comments he made on social media but refused to step down. Even Trustee David Young at the center of this emergency meeting after posting racial slurs on Facebook. His comments in reaction to video of the downtown Cincinnati brawl seen by millions.
I made a statement I should not have made. I offended some people, and you're here.
All right, so I'm not going to play this incident. I'm not going to put it up on the screen because I'm sure most of you probably saw it by now. And you know, although this channel is not monetized, I never monetize this channel so I can, you know, keep my freedom of speech and all that. Although I never monetized this channel, I still don't want to put that video up because they just might take the whole video down and y'all won't be able to see it. You see what I mean? But I'm sure by now, the vast majority of you should have heard about what happened in Cincinnati and all that stuff. But I mean, there's plenty of content out there. It's on TikTok. If you don't know what happened, just go to TikTok or look it up on Google because a few people out there don't even know about it. So yeah, I was surprised. There's a few people that they just don't care. They don't keep up with the news and they don't know what's going on. But most people know what's going on. But I can't play it, you know, because they'll probably just take down the video because it is violence, you know. And what's crazy about this whole scenario is the media is not really telling the whole story. You know, if you want the full story, it's such a shame you gotta go on like TikTok or these other places to get the full story because the media is not telling the full story. But people are finding out the full story. So people have wanted to know like what's my opinion on this. Do I think it was right what happened? The simple answer, yes, I think it was 100% right what happened. I mean, you don't go around and you don't go around yelling racial slurs at people, especially these days, okay? This ain't the 1950s. This ain't the early 1900s. If you plan on calling someone a racial slur, especially a black person, just plan on there being consequences, okay? Just plan on suffering the consequences. That's what this Russian, they saying that it was a Russian couple. I'm guessing they're a Russian, but that's what the media is saying. That's what everybody's saying. I don't know why they want to call people that, these racial slurs. I don't know what made them want to do that, but they started yelling these slurs. And that can be found in the clip too. Like if you go on TikTok and watch the clips, like they actually bleep it out. You can hear them calling these people these names, and then that's when the altercation started. You know, he slapped the guy. And that's another thing that the media is not showing. The media is not showing. Well, maybe they just now recently showed it, but the first few days of this, they didn't show that someone had got in between the black guy and the white guy and tried to break it up, you know, and then the Russian guy, he re-engaged the whole altercation. He slapped the black dude, and he pretty much reinitiated the whole incident. He re-engaged it. Rather than just walking away, he had to slap the guy, and that's when the brawl happened. And it was a bunch of people. They knocked him down and they stomped him out. And then the lady, I guess that was his wife, whoever, she got involved and she got her ass kicked. They both got their ass kicked. And there was another dude, he was yelling racial slurs, and he got his ass kicked too. They all got their ass kicked, you know, and all, the whole group of black people teamed up on them. And a lot of people are mad at that. You know, they're saying it's just crazy because I heard like this guy in Ohio, I don't know if he's a councilman or something like that, but he made a racial comment. Yeah, he made a racial comment, and now everyone's asking him to step down because he made a racial comment. Not just black people, but white people too. They're asking him to step down because he made racial comments in regards to the beatdown. He said he had made this post and it said 10-on-1 NIGGER fun. Yeah, that's what he said. He posted that and he got a lot of pushback from that. So he was trying to say, you know, it took like 10 black people on one person. They were beating him. But that's only right. I mean, people might disagree with what I'm saying, but just that word in itself, it's going to trigger a lot of people. You go around yelling, especially if it's a large group, and you just go around yelling that word. I mean, what do you think's going to happen? You know, I'm talking about this guy that felt the need to call these people that name. You know, what did he think was going to come out of that? These people are leaving the jazz festival, okay? They were just having some good fun. You don't go to a jazz festival just looking for altercations, okay? These people are leaving the jazz festival. They're just having a good time, and I guess this guy was drunk. They say alcohol was involved. That played a factor. I guess he was drunk. I don't know what happened. Again, they're not really telling the whole story, but it's on camera, okay? A lot of people got it on film. He was angry. You know, that word, the N-word, started getting thrown around, and one thing led to another. You know, they tried to break it up. Okay, well, not even break it up. One of the guys stepped in between them and tried to defuse the situation, and the Russian guy, he reignited the whole situation. That's the best way I can say it. I mean, at that point, when the guy got in between them and tried to break him up, he could have just walked away, but he re-engaged it. So now they're trying to say they want to charge these black people with a hate crime. Where's the hate crime at? Where's the hate crime at? I mean, if anything, he should be charged with a hate crime, okay? The Russian guy, for calling people these racial slurs and then slapping one of them. I don't see no hate crime in this. You know, they talk about that's probably not going to happen, but that's what they're saying. They want to charge him with hate crimes and all this nonsense, but I don't see no hate crime. And honestly, he's lucky to still be alive, you know, because the way they were beating him and stomping his head, he should have been unalived, okay? They should have murked him right then and there. And that woman, she's lucky to be alive too, because they very well, just one hit knocked her unconscious. If they were stomping her out like they did him, she probably would be on life support. A lot of people say they don't agree with a woman getting hit. Well, I do. Okay, I agree with a woman getting hit. She was with him. He was being a racist, and she got caught in the middle of it with a bunch of angry people. So hey, it's just what it is. Okay, I have no sympathy for any of them, especially the dude that was calling these people these racial slurs. Okay, like I said, these people didn't leave a jazz festival looking for trouble. Okay, this guy, he started the whole thing. He started the entire situation. The Russian guy, he started it. It's just what it is. And the media's not going to admit this because the media wants to paint them. Okay, the Russian couple, the media wants to paint them as the victims, and they want to paint the black people as the villains, okay? And you got all these racists on social media calling us animals and savages and all this shit, you know. But who's the real savage? You know, you walk up to somebody calling them racial slurs and slapping them. I mean, what do you expect? So all these people are mad that these black people ganged up on him and kicked his ass. Well, honestly, they should have unalived him just to make an example of him. That's what they should have did. They should have kept stomping him on the ground. And yeah, he could have met his demise that way. And yeah, let the news media talk about that. So yeah, people wanted to know my thoughts and opinions on this whole scenario, and that's pretty much it. You know, you go around, even on TikTok, social media, anywhere really, people are crying and whining and complaining about it, saying that it wasn't fair, it wasn't right, it wasn't justified. No, it was totally justified. It was totally justified. Okay, I don't care what none of them say. A lot of them are they're just bitching and complaining about it, and it got a lot of people real mad. Okay, it got a lot of people real mad, but who started it? Who started it? They're not gonna tell you that. Who initiated it? If he just kept his mouth shut, went about his business, this wouldn't have ever happened. This would not have happened. We would not be discussing this right now. Okay, the news, they've been talking about this every day since it happened. They wouldn't be talking about this every day if he just kept his mouth shut and minded his own business. It's almost as though he was looking for trouble. I mean, if you use that word in a group full of black people, what do you think is going to happen? Let's just be real. What do you think is going to happen? You think anything good is going to come out of that? Nothing's good going to come out of that. I mean, let's just be real. Let's just be real. He was looking for trouble, okay? And like what was she? Councilwoman, whatever she was. She said the beatings were justified. She said the beatings were deserved. She got a lot of pushback from that. A lot of people didn't like what she said, but she told the truth. She told the truth. You know, we live in a very sensitive society. A lot of people are just very sensitive. Y'all already know most people, they just can't handle the truth. They always wanted to have their ears tickled. She said the beatings were deserved, and they begged for the beatdown. And she's right. She's right. I mean, there's just no way around it. She's right. You know, you got all these people, these nobodies making TikTok videos saying calling them animals and savages. I mean, what you expect? What do you expect? No one's talking about how in Ohio, this wasn't even long ago. This is probably like 2 or 3 months ago, around that same location, you had a bunch of neo-Nazis go to a black neighborhood with freaking Nazi flags, and they were they weren't rioting, but they were pretty much doing like a rally, a demonstration. They did it on an overpass, and I guess they worked their way into like this black neighborhood, and the cops did show up, but the cops did not disperse that crowd. And all of the locals, okay, all of the residents of that black community, they came out their homes and they had a confrontation with these neo-Nazis. Okay, they were waving their Nazi flags and all this stuff, and they had a confrontation. They ended up making them disperse, but they were mad that the police did not do that. The police did not make these people disperse. Pretty much it was the residents of this community that made these people disperse, because the residents were angry. I mean, who wouldn't be angry? They came out in droves and pretty much they pushed these neo-Nazis away, but they were mad at the police for not doing it. And the police excuse was, they actually had this on one of the news channels, and one of the ladies had asked the cop, she's like, hey, why aren't y'all making these people go away? And the cop responded to her, they're allowed to have a demonstration, and when you guys had a Black Lives Matter demonstration, no one made y'all disperse. That's what he told her. That's what he told her. So pretty much you're saying y'all are allowed to have BLM protests, so they're allowed to have neo-Nazi protests. See, how ridiculous does that sound? They out there, I mean, they're causing a big ruckus. They had these Nazi flags and just causing a ruckus, pretty much trying to terrorize this neighborhood. But pretty much the police allowed them to do it, and it was up to the residents. Yeah, they were yelling racial slurs too, you know, but it was up to the residents to make these neo-Nazis disperse. And this was just a few months ago. We're not talking 2, 3, 4, 5. No, this was just a few months ago. It was earlier this year. But they're not talking about, see, they're not going to tell you that on the media. And this wasn't, you had to actually look for this. What I'm trying to say is, I don't think they talked about it much in the mainstream media. You had to have looked for it to see it. It wasn't publicized like that. So when this beatdown happened not too long ago, these people are already angry. Okay, you got to realize, you just got to put two and two together. They had neo-Nazis coming to their neighborhood, terrorizing them. They're already angry. They're already on edge. All right, so you get another he looked like a skinhead anyway. You get this other Russian skinhead. He's going to yell racial slurs. What do you think is going to happen? They are already on edge. It's like a powder keg. They're already on edge from what happened with these neo-Nazis. So what do you think is going to happen? They all teamed up and gave him a much-needed beatdown. And like I said, they should have unalived him. All right, because if anybody yell a racial slur to me, he or her, they're getting all their teeth knocked out and they're going to be stretched out on the ground. Okay, it's really that simple. People like that, they need to be made an example of. That's what they need. Be made an example of and send a message. That's how you handle that. So I'm saying if he was unalived, that would have sent a much needed message. Yeah, and people will think twice before they start saying nonsense like that. Okay, because like I said, this ain't the 1960s. This ain't the 1950s where you could say that to black people and nothing would happen because black people were scared to fight back. Black people were scared to pretty much stand up for themselves. Okay, but this isn't those days no more. Okay, this is an entirely new generation. Entirely that just don't give a fuck. Okay, you think they care if they get locked up? No, they don't give a shit. A lot of them already been locked up anyway. They don't care. Yeah, especially when they come down to that, they don't care. A lot of these dudes, they're already angry for one, and they're just waiting for someone to do something like that, to give them an excuse to act out. They're just waiting for someone to yell a racial slur to them to give them a reason to act out and be violent. Kind of like what happened with the neo-Nazis. A lot of those dudes came out and they were angry. Okay, and they pushed them back. And like I said, this whole scenario, it just brought out all the undercover racists and, you know, all these people. Because just the other day, it was this dude, he made a post on X. And, you know, the FBI ended up arresting him, but he made this post on X saying he wanted to, I guess he was trying to recruit a bunch of, I didn't get the full story. I just got the tail end of the story, but pretty much he made a post on X, okay, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. It's X now, but he was saying that he wanted to kill like 30,000 black people, and he was saying that how did he say it? He said, let's clean the city of all these. He said something along the lines of let's turn the city red, or let's paint the city red, meaning, you know, bloodshed. And he said, let's cleanse this city of all blacks. And they want to kill 30,000 by Sunday and have them all fill the morgue. Yeah, that's what he posted. That's what he posted, and the FBI had ended up arresting him. But as it unfolded, apparently he had confrontations with black people in the past, and he had injured this black lady, something like that. But he had confrontations in the past, you know, and now they're trying to say he's mentally ill and he needs help. So you already know how that's going to go. He's probably going to get off the hook, because they're already trying to say he needs help and all this stuff. You know how that goes, you know, but you know, all these people are coming out the woodwork. Although the person they beat up was Russian, it made all these American racists angry just because the fact that it was a Caucasian person. They're all angry at that. Yeah, a lot of people are angry at this whole situation. And again, they're trying to paint the black people as villains when they were just minding their own business. They weren't looking for no trouble. And the media is not going to come out and tell you this, because the media wants to paint the Russian people as the victims. See? Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. You know, and even on TikTok, they're making these racist TikTok videos. One guy had, I'm gonna put it up on the screen so you can see it. But one guy on TikTok was talking about he would drag people behind his truck, like some racist type shit. Yeah, he would tie people up to his truck, and drag him behind his truck. That's what he was saying. But you know, kind of like the keyboard warriors, they're not gonna say that in public. They're not gonna say that to a black person. Okay, they're gonna say that behind the safety of their iPhone camera or Android camera. They're just gonna say that in a safe environment. Okay, they're not gonna say that in public because they know better. See, they know better than that. So they're a bunch of cowards too, because they're only gonna do it behind the safety of their computer or the safety of their phone, whatever. They're not gonna say that. They're not gonna say that in mixed company. Okay, they're just not gonna do that.
These motherfuckers are proud that I don't know how many 6, 7 monkeys jumped on a man and his woman. They proud. They bragging about that. Look at us. You ever rode on a pickup?
They feel empowered when they're on social media to say all this nonsense. Even the guy that made that post on X, he had the confidence to say that on social media, but he wouldn't do that in mixed company. He wouldn't do that in public. See what I mean? That's why we call them keyboard warriors, because they feel emboldened to do this shit on social media, because they don't got the balls to do it in real life, because they already know what's going to happen to them. You see what I mean? And then also in Ohio, it's a lot. Ever since the day this shit happened, it's just been, one thing after another, really. So apparently you got the Triple K. They're going around the black neighborhoods and they're posting Triple K flyers. And I guess they're trying to recruit people. That's what's happening. In 2025, that's what's happening. I mean, it's like it's 1925, but in 2025, you got all these racial tensions. See, when another group of people caused it. Yeah, it's 2025. I mean, but this is where we are as a species, as the human species. There's still division. There's still racial tensions. The species just can't get it right. You know, we just can't. We make it impossible to coexist with each other. And I spoke about this on this channel. Okay, for those of you that have been following me for a while, you know, we talk about these subjects. As a species, you know, we're our own worst enemy, honestly. We're just our own worst enemy. We can't get along. We can't coexist. We screw shit up. We just can't get it right. 200,000 years of evolution, and this is where we are. We have all this technology. We have all these accomplishments. But this is where we are. This is where we are. So, I don't know. I'll probably make a part 2 of this video because they're still talking about this. They're going to be talking about it for a while. And like I said, a lot of people are angry about this whole scenario. But, I think it was right. I think he needed his ass kicked. I think she needed her ass kicked too. And the other dude, they were doing wrestling moves on this dude. I had seen this one video clip where they had knocked this one guy to the ground and he did like a WWE move. He like jumped on him like WWE style, like you see the wrestlers do. Yeah, they were kind of just like not only just beating them up, but they were kind of like having fun with them. And yeah, they were laughing while they were doing it too. So I guess they enjoyed it. So that's really all I can say. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Maybe I'll make a part 2. But let me know what y'all think about the whole situation. I'll catch you on the next one.